Welcome to Dad's AI Lab.
So one of the things I wanted to do on this channel is just talk about everyday AI usage and look at different applications that I've built, that I run, that I think are very useful for most families and most individuals, where you can get the most out of local AI. And so I'm going to demonstrate one of those today. It's open source. I'll link this at my GitHub below so you can take a look at it. And I think it's really interesting. It's a lot of fun. So to get right into it. It is basically a newsletter aggregation type application that uses my local LLM to kind of build everything. So every day you can get a fresh feed of news. Why? Everybody's doom scrolling a bunch of different apps. There's tons of information overload. Every single news app you get inundated with ads. They're tracking all your information. And even if you try to do it with you like subscribing to like the New York Times or Washington Post or Apple News, it's like it all starts to add up just to get different sources of news where you're paying $5, $10, $20 a month, and you just continue to push up from there. And that's not including like everyone in the household. That's just me. You also don't know why you're seeing what you're seeing. There's no algorithm transparency. You know, you're just getting fed stuff based on what people want to feed you. I'm not down with that. And also, like, just everybody's reading different things in the family, so there's like a disconnect by who's reading what, who's getting their information from where, and so it's just really hard to understand where all that's coming from. So, the one of what I've done is I've created my own profile here, but you can create a new profile, and you can go in here and you can enter your name, you can upload an avatar, you can type in any interest you want. I also have a bunch of pre-selected ones as well, and you just create your profile. And I'll show you mine. But again, just all the kind of things I write. I read all kinds of stuff about Go and Rust and all of these things. And it just populates based on what I'm interested in. And everyone in the family can have their own profile and things like that. And this runs locally. It's a Python app. You can run it in Docker. You can run it on a Raspberry Pi. And it just hits your local LLM endpoint. So everybody gets their own newsletter. It generates at 6 a.m. via our cron job. You can obviously change that if you want. And then on the calendar view, I can go in and look at all of mine. It shows what days I was installing a UPS on my server this day, so that's why there was no generation. But otherwise, you can just click on them and just read your newsletters. So how it works is you go in and enter all of these things, and it goes through a bunch of different sources. So right now it mainly sources through Reddit and RSS feeds. So it'll go through it'll go through subreddits that are pertinent to the interests and topics that you're interested in. It also has several RSS feeds configured already. Again, you could add more if you like, and pulls all those news articles in, and then it just assembles that newsletter for the day using your local LLM to summarize key points and a high-level summary of each article. And then from there, you can click into the OG article so you can actually get the unvarnished article. So let's just look at today's. So, sourced 133 articles across 31 different sources and 17 categories. And so these are topics. It shows the topic right there, machine learning. And this came from Reddit. It summarizes the article for me. And again, I could click into it. It'll open up the original post. So it's not hallucinating anything. Now, the summary, I think, is pretty good, and the key points are pretty solid. But again, you can go in and get the real article and see the real comments, so you're not just trusting the LLM, which can hallucinate. And it does a sentiment analysis. And what the sentiment analysis does is just give you, like, is this a positive or negative story in comments? So if it's 50%, it's dead neutral. If it's over 50%, I mean, there's a positive slant to the article. If it's under, it's a negative slant. So we can go through here and look at all the different articles. And I think I restrict it right now to up to 10 articles per category. So if I have 17 categories, I can get up to 170 articles per day. And it only looks in the last 24 hours. So, you know, you're getting a fresh newsletter every single day. And that'll go through and pick out, like, here's technology. Again, scrolling down, movies, things like that. And what it does is it looks at the top 24 hours of each subreddit, pulls that in. It looks at the last 24 hours of RSS feeds, pull that information in. And all that is in a very clean, readable format, easy to digest, and you can quickly scan through and just kind of get caught up. So I enjoy it. I think it's doing a really good job so far. It's been about a week since I've had it running. I think the best part is that I connect it to my local LLM, which is running on my AMD Strix Halo 395 Plus with 128 gigs of RAM, which for me is a Corsair AI 300 workstation. And I'm running GPT OSS 120 billion parameter model. I have tested this with the Quinn 3 A30B 2507 Instruct model, which is a really popular model that you can run on much smaller machines. And it does a fairly good job as well, and it's really fast. So you can run this against any hardware configuration that you have access to. You can configure it to hit Llama, so if you wanted to hit a cloud model, you could as well. But for me, the important part is keeping everything local and private, especially when it comes to my family. So that I use GPT OSS 120B. It works really well. You can use smaller models. I've tested this as low as a 7 billion parameter model, the Quinn 3 parameter model, and it still worked pretty decently. So again, it doesn't matter what hardware you have. Something like this is gonna work just fine because the prompt and the templates are pretty scoped and scoped tightly that it doesn't leave a lot of room for ambiguation or hallucination, and allows you to get fairly good newsletters built no matter the case. So it's really nice because it's aggregating all my news across a whole bunch of different sources. I don't have to pay a monthly fee. I'm not worried about how the algorithm is doing. I built the algorithm and it's open source, so you can go take a look at yourself and see all the different examples and prompts that I've used to build this. You can look at the code, you can fork it, you can modify it, you can do whatever you like with it. So it's totally up to you on how you want to use it. Or you can just use it out of the box and get a very similar experience to what I have. So every day I just wake up, I check my news, I spend 10-15 minutes, I drink my coffee, and just kind of go through it. I'm not going to do a full setup guide, but it's built where you can run this. I run it on a Mac Mini, so I use LaunchD, and I just run it as a Python app. And it's got a SQLite database, so it's pretty fast. You can wrap it in Docker. You can do whatever you like with it. You can host it on a Raspberry Pi, like I said earlier. It's just really nice. So this is what I mean by like everyday AI. I'm not trying to. I'll never demo like coding on here because I think there's plenty of channels to do this. I'm just looking for things that like make me and my family's life more interesting or more fun with local LLM models. And I think that's a lot where I think this is going in the future, like having a local AI deployment and the interesting things you can do it around your house, not necessarily related to coding. So it's just useful. So if you want to use it, feel free. If you want to modify it, feel free. And I'll see you next week with a new topic. Have a good week.